Hello, welcome to Relatively Ordinary. This is Betsy.
And this is Karl.
Hey, Karl.
Hi, Betsy.
So you were away this weekend.
Just for a little while.
Yeah. Did you have fun?
Played some golf with the boys.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was good. It's fun.
Some bro time.
Yeah. Yeah. I also have now reached the point where I realize that I may never beat our son at golf ever again.
Yeah, I mean, he's getting better at a lot of sports than you.
Yeah. Yeah. It's fun to see.
You're getting old.
I am no, I think I'm kind of holding steady.
Okay. Like
Yeah.
me, I'm 29, eternally.
Yeah, 39 and
Mm-hmm.
yep.
Although I'll tell you this today, folks. I ran 6 miles. So I'm getting back into running. This time last year I was injured and I'm back stronger than ever. I ran 8-minute miles. Boom.
Stronger than ever.
Yes. So, I mean,
Stronger than you can remember.
well, okay, fine. I mean, I did run some fast 10Ks in my time and they were under 8-minute miles, but this wasn't a race. This was
Yeah.
just me going out having funsies. So,
It's pretty good. Well, also to do so without pain.
no
And still to
pain.
enjoy it,
I
feel
mean,
strong, and
the last mile was a little tough, but yeah, no pain. And I didn't intend to go any particular pace except to just accomplish that distance. So
yeah, good for you.
you're eyeing something over here, not me. What are you looking at?
I'm just making sure the microphone looks okay. Like we don't need to go into this. This is not important.
It's awkward for me. You need to look deep into my eyes.
No, that's awkward. That's awkward for everyone.
Cool. Anything else new?
No, no, nothing too important to share with the world.
Okay.
I got a good, fun, quick bite question now for you.
Okay. Go for it.
So in the spirit of um our president getting turned down by all of these
Yes.
um
I heard he's going to cancel it and now he's going to be the front
yeah,
lead entertainment.
he wants to be the
I
entertainment.
mean,
He's
if
better
it
than Elvis Presley.
and better than Elvis Presley,
Yeah.
is that because Elvis Presley's dead?
That's what he said. He said he's going to be Elvis Presley without a guitar.
Oh my
um
gosh.
but
Well, he could be a comedy act without even
yeah,
trying,
yeah, I mean it is kind of funny, but
like a cringe comedy act.
mhm.
All
Yeah.
right.
Well, he's getting shot down by,
Everyone.
like Milli Vanilli.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Oh, Milli Vanilli is
although
awful.
I heard Vanilla Ice is still
Yeah.
in. Vanilla Ice is still game. So, but
Ugh.
in honor of that, if you were president
Mm-hmm.
and you were, you know, so megalomaniacal enough to make the list of artists to be performing
Mm-hmm.
at a 250th anniversary celebration, who would your artists be? Give me 4 or 5 artists that you'd have headline that event.
Well, I don't think I would do it that way.
Okay. That was not an option. Like this is like there's a multiple choice here, and that is not an option. You failed the test. You
Oh,
failed the test. So give me now. Do you want me to repeat the question?
no, I know what your question is.
Okay. That's not an option.
Oh gosh. Okay. Well, way to put me on the spot.
I mean,
Um,
that's the whole point.
I know, but I don't like answering questions like this.
Please just answer the damn
Well,
question.
well, also I really have a hard time with name finding. So I might, forget the name of the band or the lead singer. So I hate these
Like
questions.
I am eye rolling so hard they can hear it on the audio recording right now.
I know. That's okay. And also, I'm a people pleaser, so I'd want to choose who's going to be popular with the audience and not just me. You know what? I can't answer this question. I refuse. I'm
You
sorry.
are literally the worst.
But who would you have?
Um, so who would I have is not important. The question is to you.
I don't want to answer it.
This is so disappointing. Our audience is so disappointed right now. And by the way, it doesn't have to be like this is my personal party. I'm turning this into my birthday party like Donald J. Dickhead is doing. Like
Yeah,
you can say, you know what? Americans would love to hear Taylor Swift. They
yeah.
would love to hear Beyonce. They
Well,
would love
that's
to
it, but
hear
you said I'm, like, an egomaniac, and so I'm just choosing my favorite bands, and I think that would be disappointing for
just
a lot of
answer
people.
the question.
Alright, my answer is that I would probably choose the last 10 artists who performed in the Super Bowl. Done.
Okay. Okay.
I don't know who they are, but I'm sure they're popular and people like them.
Yeah. Well,
Done. Moving on.
I don't know if I can forget the last
Or
10.
or I'd hire someone
But
to do it
so
for me.
you would have um let's see, you'd have Kendrick Lamar, you'd have Bad Bunny,
Mhm.
you'd have I think The Weeknd,
Mhm.
um I know J Lo and Shakira were in there.
Great.
Oh, Dr. Dre and Snoop were in
Sweet.
there.
Yep. Definitely have Snoop.
Yeah.
Does
So
that appease you?
I mean, it was like extracting teeth, like wisdom teeth to get that answer out of you.
Impacted wisdom
Yeah,
teeth.
like I'm next time I ask a question like this, I'm just gonna put you under and I will answer for you.
Yes.
That's what we're gonna do.
I'm sorry. I don't know why my brain just doesn't. Like I can't. I just I can't. I can't. It's so hard. That
Well,
that was kind of I didn't I found that really annoying.
yeah,
That
just
was
please
hard.
like if you ever get like an invitation to go on like a late night TV show,
Oh, they
just
need to give me the questions in
just
advance.
just politely pass, please.
I don't think people will, but you never know. And I'll get the questions ahead of time.
I think
Yeah,
we're
that
accepting that.
I my yeah, my nerves are shot already. Whew, okay. All right. Well, I have the topic. So this is good. This is good. So the topic for today is what marriage teaches us about ourselves.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
Yeah, we'll turn it on its head kind of. So I thought about this because of, well, the Senate race in Maine with Graham Platner. And yesterday there was some news slash gossip about how there was maybe some inappropriate messages he shared with other women while he was newly married. I don't know if it's true. I don't really give a crap, honestly. But they're digging for something, and this is what they do to candidates, but this is what they do to people who are famous. This is what they do
Mhm.
to people who are in the limelight. They like to take public figures and pretend like they're performative and find some things to be critical about. And so my first question for you is why are people so fascinated by other people's marriages? Like, is it truly just voyeurism? Does it really matter in this case whether there was infidelity or not? And, thinking about how other people's marriages and relationships have been so scrutinized. Like, why do we care so much? Is it important?
Well, it's interesting because I think it's a little bit like what we talked about in our last episode of like there's this really kind of strange like double standard we have of we want people in the public eye to be like pure and perfect
Mhm.
and we try to put them up on a pedestal, but
Mhm.
of course at the same time we want them to be human and just like us,
Mhm.
and it becomes like an easy and lazy, but a very easy attack to go after somebody's like moral virtues or their values,
Yeah.
right? So
Mhm.
if if there's any whiff of like, infidelity or, a relationship that doesn't match this sort of perfect idyllic thing, which we all know doesn't exist,
Yeah.
right? And
Yep.
the same thing where if you had a friend who was going through something or your neighbor was going through something and you wanted to be there to support them, you would probably like, you know, look past certain things and support them.
Mhm.
Um, we're eager to just jump down someone's throat, especially if there's someone that we're already predisposed to disagree with because they're,
Mhm.
on the other side or whatever.
Mhm.
It's casting stones. So,
Yeah.
it's really unfortunate because it's not who we are as people, but that's how we operate.
I can see it from, kind of two perspectives. On the one hand, yes, these are people who are trying to find something to undermine him because he is a threat, and we had talked about that a little bit, right? Trying to find some way to cast doubt on those who support him because he's gaining popularity. That's just what they do this
Yep.
time of year. And I think outside of that, if he wasn't a public figure right now, it would be more of like, oh, I think a way to seek information to judge against yourself, right?
Yeah.
Or to, I don't know, sort of, you have these general standards, or people have standards, and you are always sort of comparing yourself against them. So it's nice to see or kind of get some information about other people, and the comparison, and
Yeah.
the criticism, and it not being about yourself, or maybe making you feel better about yourself.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well, I think that's true. I think there is a tendency to want to sort of like bring people down a bit to feel better about yourself, which is, it's an ugly tendency,
Oh yeah.
but it's something that people do and
Mm-hmm.
it is what it is. I also think that's like, again, it's like when you think about an aspiring politician, and this is someone who is trying to make a leap from, municipal politics. I mean, it's like me, if I was going from the North Yarmouth Select Board
Mm-hmm.
and running for the US Senate,
Mm-hmm.
right? Like that's an insane jump, right?
Mm-hmm.
And there is sort of this gauntlet of public opinion you have to run, and
Mm-hmm.
there's going to be people that scrutinize everything you do
Yeah.
and try to pick you apart. And some of it's actually like it's a little bit of a social forcing function in the way of like it's sort of weeding out people who do have weak moral character,
Yes.
except for the fact that that doesn't work anymore clearly because you have maybe the human being who has like there are human beings in the White House who have some of the worst moral character anyone
Yes.
on the planet. That's not an exaggeration. Like,
No, no.
when you think about like
The corruption, the
Trump,
greed.
yeah, Trump, what Pam Bondi has gone through, like covering
Oh
up for
God.
Epstein, what JD Vance is just a total hypocrite and will just shill out anything for power. You
Yeah.
got like that little Nazi weasel, Stephen Miller. I mean, these people are
Mhm.
terrible people.
Mhm.
But like I think there's always been an assumption of like the the gauntlet of politics does weed out, or at least in the past it seemed like it weeded out some of the worst people, and it seems like for whatever reason there are some who have found their way
Yeah.
into that. And what really kind of just is weird and hard to square when you're thinking about like when you see this and you see the attacks on Plattner, of course, so this is
Uh-huh.
just politics as usual, but at the
Yeah.
same time it's like, why do people get worked up about that
Exactly.
when like
Exactly.
there are like meaningful allegations that Trump
Yes.
raped children?
Yes. And the level they're going to hide it and distract us.
Yeah,
Yes. I mean, that's what's laughable about this. It really is. Like, you're just distracting from the important process
yeah.
here. So
And but that's the point too, is it's a distraction, right?
it's a
And
distraction.
it's a salacious thing. And if you can get some people And I know some people who are like, "I don't know about this Platner guy because it seems like every time I hear about him, I hear about controversy," right?
Uh-huh.
And, you know,
But that's the
is it
point of this process.
yeah,
That's what they wanna do.
it's to just create enough
Mhm.
fear, uncertainty, and doubt in certain people
Mhm.
to keep them away or,
Mhm.
just create a little bit of, uncertainty there.
Well, to bring it back to the whole marriage topic, what does it reveal about what marriage actually is when it is so exposed? Like, when you think about the institution of marriage and what people are looking at, like, what are we really trying to frame here that we're being critical of, right? I don't know, it's like a bigger, broader,
Yeah.
abstract
Well,
question.
yeah, I mean, it's again, it's like this is a great follow-up to a last conversation because I think that we don't have authentic conversations around like sex and marriage.
Mhm.
Even in marriage, we sometimes aren't able to do that. We
Yep.
don't do it like, certainly, and as we talked about a little bit before, like men don't often have the level of depth and intimate conversations with other men
Mhm.
that women might have with other women. But like even it's like, you know, just to think about hard things that are hard to talk about in a marriage or hard to talk about around marriage of like when you get married to someone, they may be the love of your life. You may be immensely attracted to them. You may never have like, a strong desire to like be intimate with another person ever again. But it's not like, uh, you know, beautiful women stop being beautiful and
Mhm.
you're,
Yeah.
you're still going to find yourself
You're
like
human.
you're attracted to people. There's your views of like what the marriage is and your relationship with your partner is going to change and evolve
Mhm.
over time.
Mhm.
And we don't do a good job talking about that. So sometimes it's like, you know, and again, I don't know the whole thing, the whole platter thing, but it's like, you don't know what his friendships are like or what kind of like
Mhm.
relationships he had with other women, before he got married
Mhm.
and what that's like now, it's
Well,
just like I think it's very unrealistic to think that like, you know, we're gonna just like get married and then we're never gonna talk to another
yeah.
person from the opposite gender
Yeah.
ever again. And
It's it's gossip
yeah,
is what it is, and I don't think anyone should know any details because that's their personal story, but that's ultimately what it comes down to. Like, we have this model. Is it steeped in like what we think from a religious perspective or, from a legal perspective, and does that set these boundaries? To me, it just seems ridiculous because how can we sit here and judge? Like, what is there to judge? What does that mean? How does that change his character and who he might be as a politician and a leader, right? And then how can we do that to your neighbor or, to anyone's marriage, right? It's a personal dynamic.
yeah,
How do we sit here and judge because there's not a right or wrong way per
yeah.
se. I mean, we're, socialized to think a certain way, but
Well,
why?
I've known some people that, professionally, I have a ton of admiration for them and they're like super smart, they're talented, they're, well respected in their field and
Mhm.
their personal life is a disaster.
Mhm.
And that may be there's a million reasons why that may be. It's not my place to judge. It may be that like
And
some
maybe they don't think it's a
and,
disaster. Maybe they like that.
well, exactly, right? And sometimes it's like, there's some people who because of that and because of like maybe their values towards like their family or like relationships or something I can't relate to and it makes it hard for me to be friends with that person. Like I like cannot find a way to be friends with them. But I also, as long as they're like good and honest and treat people well and they're accountable and they're, responsible in the way that I need to be responsible as a colleague, like we can get along great and have great
Mhm.
professional relationship,
Yeah.
right? Like so you can completely decouple those things. I don't think
Yeah.
that like, you know, um if you're a lying, cheating scumbag in your relationships, you're probably a lying, cheating scumbag at work and in business, right?
Mhm.
Like, um, sometimes people just are really good at like the professional part of their life and they're not as good in their personal life, but it
Mhm.
doesn't make them a bad person. It just
Mhm.
means that like they have a specific focus. So it's also important to, remember that like, and I mean there's something about the life of a, high profile like professional athlete or
Yeah.
business person or doctor
Mhm.
or a politician that like lends itself to you're probably not going to be good at relationships because like you have to focus so much on
Yeah.
yourself and your performance and
Yeah.
the responsibilities
Or
you have.
maybe that's what works with their partners.
Yeah, I mean that's why I'm so mediocre at everything because I'm trying to be
You're
good in my
so
relationship.
invested in your relationship with me.
Yeah, yeah,
Oh.
it's all about my family, my kids, and my podcast. That's it.
Yeah, right. Okay. You're delusional,
Yeah.
but
There are ones of listeners out there counting on me.
so to think about it from a community level, I think we're generally biased towards the happily married couple, right? Like that is the you know quintessential American level-headed goal, dream, whatever. It's part of the American dream, right? Right?
Yeah,
Probably
sure. Yeah.
we could even bias it further and be like heterosexuals,
Mhm. Yep. 2 kids.
2.5 kids. Oh no, no. Now we're under babied. So
Yep.
maybe we're 1.5 kids.
Yep.
Uh what do you think people actually use to judge a marriage's success? Is it longevity, happiness, managing the ups and downs? Like if you were to, think about yourself and maybe others, what
Hmm.
what does it mean to be successful? Or what you see in,
Well,
others?
yeah, I think there's a more superficial side and then there's a deeper side and the superficial side is probably just like do you appear happy, do you appear like you know dynamic, are you socializing together, are you attending your kids
Mhm.
events together, are you showing up to support each other, which obviously like you know if you're doing those things genuinely, they're going to show up in the superficial way. So I don't mean to
Mhm.
dismiss it by calling it superficial, but like
Yeah,
the more sort of visible,
visible. Yes.
if you
On the
have,
surface.
a husband and wife who clearly are like able to do something together, like, you know, hosting a podcast.
Right.
But like we go on runs together. That's
You're
that's
naming all these things.
debatable.
Like we argue about all this stuff,
We
folks.
we go skiing together. We do, we have nice family vacations.
Mhm.
Like we're able to socialize with friends together. We're also able to socialize apart too, right?
Mhm.
Which I think
Yeah.
is big. And so I would just say it's
You
like,
even have female friends, and
yeah,
I
yeah.
just don't care.
Well, it's like I think that's big, right? Like
Mhm.
the fact that like we don't have to have, I think about like the people who are like, oh my God, like, your wife is out, drinking with coworkers and, there's like men there. And it's like, yeah, I mean, whatever, they're colleagues, right? It's like not, you know, we're grown-ups and we
Mhm.
can treat each other like grown-ups. I think, um, that's maybe more of the less visible side
Mhm.
is
The trust.
the trust.
Mhm.
And, that ultimately I know that like, you know, you're going to be there for me.
Mhm.
And I know I can trust, like we have no reason to be dishonest with each other because that's more tiring than just being honest. Um and yeah, I think that's really important.
Mhm. What are your thoughts on relationships that are non-traditional? So, to this point, we've been talking about.
You talking about like the relationship I have with my mistress?
Sure,
Yeah.
yeah. Well, no, I'm talking there. I don't know all the terms out there, but there are people who decide not to get married, and not just same sex marriages, things like that, but more of the dynamic where people just are happy, content being single, or
Yeah.
polyamorous, having multiple partners, having a partner in each town they live in.
Hoes in different area codes. I believe that's the
Ye
technical term for that.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
gotcha.
Yeah.
Yep, yep, there was a song written about that, I
Yeah.
think.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting. In first thinking about, because we know we're close with some people who have a child together. It's a man and a woman who have a biological child together. They live together and they're unmarried, and they don't kind of reaching points where maybe they're like, I don't even see the point of being married because like
Oh, I know a few couples
we're
like that.
yeah.
Mhm.
And I think it's interesting because I while as we've talked about, like I'm not a religious person and I don't put a ton of stock in religious ritual,
Mhm.
but I also really see the value in spiritual traditions of some of those rituals. And one of the rituals is, actually getting married. And I think you know, there is some merit of standing in front of an officiant and friends and family and committing to each other
Mhm.
in marriage at the same time. Like if you are committed to each other and you're committed to the child that you're raising, like that's not a necessary step,
Yeah.
right? And I think a lot of people making the decision of like, yeah, I mean, spending $25,000 or way more on a wedding
Yeah.
to, to have that sort of official rite of passage. I'd rather spend that money on a house or a car or tuition or whatever. So I think that's that's one of those places where it's like,
That's a personal choice,
better
but
to have a relationship where you commit to each other and take care of each other and take
Mhm.
care of your child than to,
All the bells and
do
whistles.
the trappings and not do those things.
Mhm. Yeah. I mean, just for the record, if anything were to happen between us, I would never get married again.
Yeah, that's screw that noise. I mean,
I'm likely have other relationships, but no marriage. And it's not
I
to
agree.
say I don't value it. I think you get to a point where you can be just as content and committed without that.
Yeah,
And I'm also pretty independent, so legally, I wouldn't necessarily need that benefit, if you will.
right. Right. Yeah, I mean, I think that, again, depends on like the worldviews that we have because of our, you know, lack of feeling like we need to adhere to certain
Yeah.
religious beliefs. Like
Yes.
it doesn't mean as much to me.
Yeah.
I'm really glad that we're married and I'm really glad that we had that wedding. And it does mean a
Uh-huh.
lot to me that we had that. So
Yeah.
again, you know,
I'd marry you again, though.
oh, you don't have to though. Um, so I also like to go back to the other part of your question, which was like more non-traditional. I started with like about as close to traditional
Mhm.
as like, possible. And then um I think when you go to let's go to like the complete sort of other side of like, open marriages and
Mhm.
polyamory and stuff
Mhm.
like that. Um I I don't know what to think about that, honestly. I mean, I think that on the one hand, it's natural for people to have sexual interest beyond their spouse.
Mhm.
And you
And I
evolve
don't
over time,
I don't
right?
think it's just sexual though. I think it's really about having relationships that are deep and meaningful with other people too. I'm
Yeah,
not
I mean,
saying it's not complex. I
it's
see your doubt in your face,
no, no.
but
I think you're splitting hairs over what I mean by sexual. I think you're literally thinking of, I'll do it again,
don't
this, and like
well, that again, what do you mean by sexual?
I think that when
You're
you
being such a man right now. Relationships are so much more beyond that.
yeah, but then like what does it even mean anymore? I mean, like if you're just talking about like having friends, that's not
Yes, but a friend, even a lifelong close friendship is different than a partner, than
right.
someone you are intimate with.
Right. So again, I'm talking about a level of intimacy
Okay. Well,
that has to do
Let's take that
with
word.
sexual attraction and
Mhm.
sexual arousal,
Okay, great.
right?
Fine.
So it doesn't have to be
Okay. Yep. So let's go with intimacy.
penetration,
Can you
right? So
change the word to intimacy?
no, because that word that's not the right word. Because intimacy, like you can have an intimate conversation with a friend who you're not.
Well, there's also people who don't have intercourse with their close, intimate partners.
Yes, you have derailed this conversation unnecessarily. So
You're welcome.
we're talking about polyamory, which to me,
Yep.
you cannot have that conversation without talking
Yes.
about sex.
Okay, fine.
So whether or not you actually have penetrative sex is not germane. Okay. We're literally back to that definition. So, like I said, I don't know what to think of that. I think that people, have
Does it
different
make you
interests.
uncomfortable? You don't believe in it?
I just don't know what to think of. I don't know. It's not where my brain goes.
Hmm.
And I think but I guess it's like the way I think about why we have marriage the way we have with one man and
Mhm.
one woman. I think it's because biologically that's kind of a norm. Like that is a norm in the reproductive traits of humans.
Mhm.
It's not the only way.
Mhm.
And it's certainly not again, like I don't I don't feel the need to ascribe to the religious stuff here. It's not like, that's the right way and
Mhm.
everything else is wrong. I don't believe in that.
Mhm.
But I think that it has become the norm, not because, you know, God came down from the sky and said that's the norm, or because some, humans said like we're going to get together and conspire and make it the norm. I think it gravitated towards that because that is a norm of human relationships.
Mhm.
So the other forms of relationships that are more complex and more, polyamory and those types of things, I think is like not abnormal, but it's not like
It's
the
less
norm
common.
that people gravitate towards naturally.
Mhm.
So I think what,
And is that part of their upbringing and what's been modeled, or is that just, how humans may need to function?
yeah. And I think that it's not like there aren't as many social constructs around it. There aren't as many traditions around it. So it's
Mhm.
just not like a thing that we have a lot of, social tools to know how to navigate.
Mhm. And I also want to say this is in my mind there's a distinction too between, sort of the Mormon traditions where there's polygamy versus some of the more, I would say, like new age, um,
Hippies.
hippie
Yeah.
poly relationships, and probably a lot of in between. Everyone's kind of creating their own
Oh, so you're
thing.
talking about hippie Mormons. That's in between.
Yes.
I mean, I don't
There's only a few of them.
there's gotta be some hippie Mormons out there. I
Okay,
mean,
we're gonna
Utah is like
yes, we're gonna
the
let's look
place.
into that.
Yeah.
I don't know, maybe
Utah,
that's
Colorado.
what we do next. We
Yeah.
become hippie
Yeah.
Mormons.
Yeah, if anyone has got, any knowledge about hippie Mormons,
Let
I'd
us
love to
know.
talk to 'em.
Okay, so making it a little more personal here. So, what does being deeply known by your spouse, that's me, your flaws, you have a few, your worst moments, there have been some, but also your growth and your strengths, not all the loveliness. What does that actually teach you? What have you learned through this deep emotional experience of I was trying to do the math. Has it been 19 years? Is it almost 20? It's almost 20.
I mean,
No, this will be
we're on the
19
19th
years.
year of our
Yes.
marriage, and we knew
Yes.
each other for 4
24.
years
Yeah.
before that, 5 years
5.
before that.
5.
So,
Yes.
yeah.
Okay. So, what do you think? What have you learned? What are the lessons? Lessons in marriage. Isn't that a movie?
Um,
Maybe.
yeah, I mean, if it is, it's not because you're remembering the title, it's because you just made that up,
It sounds like a good
and it
movie
happens
title.
a lot of yeah, uh, well, the first thing comes to mind is that, I actually, like I have a lot of respect for people who don't fall for my bullshit. So you're definitely one of them. Like you've always been quick to call me on my bullshit. Um
I let you get away with it early on just to butter you up, but
nah, you've always been pretty quick to call me on the bullshit. I don't think, I don't think that lasted very long. Maybe a first date. Um, which I think is good. I think that you you're also fiercely in my corner. I think what's what if I'm gonna get kind of like,
It's funny you say that because I think when when I'm around my family, which, very lots of females in my family and my girlfriends, you get this
oh
feeling
yeah, no,
like I'm
generally when we're around
cornering you.
other people, period, outside of our house, you shit on me. Um,
But that's just because I have a high standard for
yeah,
for you.
yeah, I don't know about that, but I think that ultimately, like, you're very supportive of me,
Yeah.
and you challenge me, but you challenge me in fair ways and makes me a better person.
Mhm.
Um, and I think that I don't know. I mean, well, so I was gonna say a second ago, to get sort of romantic speaking about marriage in general, you really are, you're merging two families and you're creating a
Mhm.
family.
Mhm.
And, I think like I have a lot of non traditional views, but I actually like that's something I've always liked about sort of the, kind of traditional view of marriage is like you're taking these two families and you're uniting them
Mhm.
through this relationship, and then you're creating a new family, creating a new branch of family.
Mhm.
And when we got married, you become family in a way that like, you know, you don't you don't get to choose your siblings and your parents and your cousins and all that, like, and you have a very different perspective. Like there's times where people in your own family behave in ways that if they weren't your family, you'd be like, who are these crazy people? I'm staying the hell away from them. But when they're your family, you're like, we'll sort this out. We'll figure it out. I'm here for you, right? And of course
Or
it
you'll
can,
just ignore it and hope it goes
yeah, or
away.
or you have to, take actions that are very hard, right? Or you ignore it or whatever. But um,
You learn to cope.
I think that that's a when you take this person who, I mean, we knew each other really well, but
Mhm.
like, still, like, you know,
Yeah, you don't know what's gonna unfold.
I didn't learn everything there was to know about you until like,
Yesterday.
yeah, like 7 months ago, we started this podcast. Uh, so, you know,
There are still some
you,
demons.
you're always learning, and there's
Yeah.
a lot of depth,
Well, and
and there's,
people change too, right? I mean,
yeah,
we've evolved, and most of the time it's been on the same path.
yeah, yeah. But there's, I think the other thing too is it's like there's parts of a person that like you're not going to change. They're not going to change. And
Mhm.
you you get to know, you know, you get to know a person at a level where it's like I see how that thing that happened when you were 7 years old defines who you are now.
Yeah.
And
Yeah. No, that's true. That's true. It's interesting because I think more about situations where you're maybe hanging out with friends or coworkers and you get or, friends who are with their partners, right? So you get to see other relationships or interact with other people in ways that you might converse with your spouse, but you're seeing different nuances in who they are, and then it stands out about like, oh, this is probably what Carl would do, or this is, his interest, or something. It kind of like plays into this fold and showcases some of those things that are just part of your mm, personhood. Like I can't unlearn those experiences
mm,
or feelings or thoughts, and sometimes I don't even know who may have started an idea or had
whose fault was this?
whose fault was this. It's just a murky history, and it becomes who you are and how you show up in the world. So I'm curious, you chose conventional. Do you ever question that choice? I would say no, because if your response, but even beyond conventional, like, you got married relatively young and things have been pretty good, I'm assuming, but have you in the life course of being married and observing others relationships and the ups and downs, has have you and what you've learned, have you ever questioned things or considered things, or have different hopes and feelings for your kids' experiences?
Well, this may surprise you, but I am actually relatively ordinary.
Oh.
So,
Me
yeah,
too. I think, yeah, me
yeah.
too.
I think um, I mean, the path for my marriage and my family has kind of been what I envisioned it would be.
Yeah.
I married one woman, had kids with her,
hmm
and
She's sitting across from you right
we're
now.
living happily ever after. Um, you know,
Relatively ordinarily
and
after.
I mean, we also, I think something that I see and I totally understand is people who have relationships where they have kids and they raise their kids together, and then they like the kids leave the house and they look and they're like, you know,
Who are you?
yeah, like who are you? Who am I? Like I this
Mhm,
isn't.
mhm,
And I think what's unfortunate is, the course of finding yourself there can be very difficult, and it can
mhm,
be, very hurtful to
mhm,
each other. But I totally understand that. And so when I think of like, like kind of less traditional quote unquote arrangements or situations or whatever, like I actually wish it was like less taboo and more comfortable for people to be able to just be like, look, you know, we did this thing for 20 years
Mhm.
and I don't think this is what we should do for the next 20 or 40 or whatever.
Mhm.
Um,
It's
so
just a new chapter kinda thing.
yeah, but like for us, I mean,
Well,
we
I was gonna say, are you trying to tell me something?
no, we talk about our future, right? Like
Yeah.
we have plans, we have things that we want to do. We are still planning a future together
Mhm.
um after, our kids are hopefully launched and independent
Mhm.
and that's meaningful. It's and I'm really glad for that, but I think that like I would hope that if for some reason that changed or like that wasn't what you felt or what I felt, that we would be able to come to a mature,
Mhm.
type of arrangement where we could, you know, keep our dignity and not, you know, try to destroy our lives or destroy each other's lives
In the
in the process.
process. Yeah. It is interesting because you think about these seasons of marriage or seasons of your life, and you do have to grow and change, right? You're adapting constantly, and there's definitely been some challenging times, but you if you go into it, and at least in my mind of like, all right, my I need to show up more for my partner. They're struggling right now, and I can see where this is going to be a little turbulent for a while, and then, maybe the wind shift and it's, your turn to support me, and then you have this shared experience where you are optimistic and excited about future endeavors and sort of, what life will offer as far as opportunities and new things within your relationship. But it also is important that you still have your personal identity. I think people who just get stagnant in general can be like an anchor when you can't be an anchor.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's just my thoughts on it.
Well, I think that's actually to, call back to like a something I've learned
Mhm.
from being married is like,
Mhm.
you know, we both are independently living our lives and this marriage is very important and it's so central to our lives, but like, if I don't want to be an anchor on your
Mhm.
life, to use
Mhm.
that term, right? Like
Yeah.
if something is happening where like where one of us is weighing down the other and keeping them from living a happy, fulfilled life. And it can be very tough, right? Because it's like,
Mhm.
like who knows, maybe, you know, someone gets in a car accident, we have some kind of, you know, physical ailment or a head injury or something, and it changes who we are and how we live our lives. And it's like, I don't I don't think you should abandon the person that you love, right? But
I hope
like,
not.
you know, at the same time, it's like, that's gonna change,
Yeah.
how we live. And I think if there's things that you have to go do, I don't wanna be a drain on that because of,
Mhm. But
I'm in.
but I think if the marriage is an important component of, who I am, right? Then it would probably just be about me rethinking that path forward.
Yeah,
You have to be adaptable.
yeah,
And so, you know, the yin, the yang, the give and take and
yeah. So if I'm well, I think what we're saying is if I'm like confined to a bed for the rest of my life, you're gonna be like a Tinder cougar.
I mean, maybe when you're asleep only.
Okay.
But during the day, you're going to get excellent rehab.
Yeah, that's true.
I'm going to ride your ass because you will not lay in bed very long. And then you'll be so tired, and then I'll, scroll through Tinder.
Nice, nice.
So, on that note, what are you still chewing on?
Um, well, I guess I'm curious of like what you think of the you could question about like, conventional relationships and other
Mhm.
types of relationships. Like what's your take?
Well, I think I'm well, I think for me, I love our relationship and this is what I feel most comfortable and confident with.
But
But well, but I also I'm an open-minded, curious person, so I like learning about these things. I'm the one who, you sit me across the table from someone who's got this unique life, and I am picking their brain, doing 20 questions and want to learn about the things because I'm curious and I feel like I want to support anyone's decision as long as they feel, they're comfortable and respected and, confident that this is what's fulfilling for them. Um, I think I can only handle the richness because being married takes a lot of commitment. It's a lot of my day is constructed in a way that I'm giving so much of my energy to you and the kids, right? So to think about anything else getting into that fold when I'm like, oh crap, I need to call my friend back, like that can definitely shake the consistency of what feels good. So I'm not thinking about it for me personally, but that gives you, a little comfort and ease on the topic. But I don't know. I'm just a curious person. I would like to understand how that works for people. And I, I've always told you this. I'm not someone who believes in like star-crossed lovers and you're the one and only for me. There are billions of people in the world. I'm sure I could have a successful relationship with
this
at
is my
least a
soul.
few of
This
them.
is my soulmate, by the way. It's telling me this.
Yes. I just don't believe in soulmates,
Yeah,
but this isn't news to
my
you.
soulmate, and I'm just like the rock she happened to stumble over.
No, no, you are like the amazing
You
person who
stubbed your
was
toe
gifted
on
to
me.
me.
Got stuck.
No, no, I love you deeply and we have a great relationship. But I have to imagine like I don't know, like statistically speaking, there's probably someone else. I'm also like as I said, I'm very adaptable. I think I can get along with a lot of people. But there comes a point where, if I have to put up with too much shit, I turn into a monster. So we've got that nice balance where I only do that like twice a year.
Will I turn into a monster?
Yeah.
Okay, we'll go with that number twice a year.
I mean, I'm still, you can maybe change my mind on the soulmate thing, but I'm not the only one here who thinks. But, our relay team for the Maine marathon were the soulmates.
Good one, Dad.
Yep. Okay. Okay. So what feels relatively ordinary?
I mean,
People love gossip and
yeah,
trying to tear everyone
yeah.
down.
I think the the stuff that you know, our eighth grader is going through and school gossip and
Yeah.
stuff like that is, we never really grow out of that. I mean,
Oh no.
sometimes you get, you know, people go through enough drama and churn that they realize that they're like, I'm good with that. I don't need it anymore in my life. But they still always kind of seek it out, maybe living vicariously through others. Maybe it's just, watching period dramas on Netflix.
I know.
But,
I mean, that's safe. I
yeah,
I
but
try not to gossip too much, but those
we,
period dramas are
we
amazing.
all, we all kind of want it, so, there's, it's always going to be there. It's just
Yeah.
who we are.
Yeah. Unfortunately. Well, I think this was an interesting talk.
Good.
I hope you enjoyed it.
I did.
Until next time, folks.
Living the dream.